my friend, that what you're getting out of this is a deep sense of how significant you are and how important you are to heaven. And I'm using heaven, as a name for really God, and because it just represents, it's His home, it's our home, and you are a child of God. Now, on earth, no one's very significant, and even though we have loved ones, it can't begin to compare to the significance that we have in heaven and to heaven. I really don't know how to describe this to you. I just have to tell it like it is, and you just have to take it on board and believe me. In heaven, you are hugely significant. Though there's a great equality there amongst everybody, you are hugely significant. Everybody is. Sorry, I've got a bit of a frog in the throat. Everybody is hugely significant there, and you are very, very significant to God. He's throwing the whole of heaven behind you before you were born again to get you born again. And now that you are born again, to keep you in the faith, and to lead and guide you back home to heaven, where you will then understand and know these things for yourself. But please, get rid of any kind of silly self-esteem issues or self-worth issues, because it's ludicrous. Where it counts the most, with God, the King of the universe, the most incredible being in the entire universe, in and out of it, you are hugely significant and important to Him. You are a royal child. And this relates very much to what we were saying in last week's video, that you're God's child. He knows your birthday. Well, why wouldn't He know your birthday? You're His child. Don't you know your children's birthdays? I'm sure you do. Maybe you've got a lot of children, and we can forgive you for getting them a bit muddled up every now and again. But you know your child's birthday because your child is the most important thing in the world to you. Who and what is more important to you? What gives you greater joy, pleasure, and pride than your child? And I'm a granny, so your grandchildren. Don't put yourself down and don't feel bad if you don't have a lot of heavenly experiences or angelic encounters or something. As we are now, with our earthly restrictions and our flesh, we're not really designed for that. We're not actually designed for that. I think it's just part of my calling that I was given these few glimpses to strengthen you with. Let me tell you about my next major encounter with angels was in my very, very dark time, when I was living with that man who was demon-possessed, and at that time, he often used to try and kill me. And so I experienced quite a few angelic interventions in that time. If you want to experience angels intervening in your life, just put yourself in a situation where you're in huge danger all the time, and you'll probably experience them more. Yeah, so, I remember on one occasion, he was trying to kill me, and I was behind a door, and I tried to close it. He was running full tilt towards me, and I tried to close the door, and as I tried to close it, my brain just told me, so you're not going to get it closed in time. And that dread feeling of knowing what's going to come next, because I'm not going to get this door closed in time. And as I watched him running towards me, everything went into slow motion. And then I saw that he tripped over something, but there was nothing to trip over at all. And you could literally see, I couldn't see the leg because it was invisible, but you could see that something went out, stuck out in front of him like that, and he just tripped and fell. And he was very, very startled. And then on the occasion where I was actually rescued and taken out of that house for the very, very last time, and never went back again after that. On that occasion, I had a major angelic intervention once again. I pretty much suspect it was probably the same guys that were involved with the intervention where I was translocated over Table Mountain. And there I didn't see anybody or any angel, but I heard a voice again. I was aware that there were many there, but one was in charge, and he was the one talking to me, and he said, "We are going to get you out of here. Just listen to my voice and do exactly what I say. And every now and again I'm going to switch my voice off, but don't be alarmed, not because I've gone. It's because I don't want the evil one to hear me, what I'm saying to you, the instructions that I'm giving you. So I'll only speak to you when he's not within earshot." Can you believe that? So when the man that I was living with was out of earshot, the angel would switch his voice on again and he would tell me what to do next. So those kind of demons are restricted by the body that they're living in. That's also a subject for another video, isn't it? Maybe we should have a couple of videos about that. I think we should. But on that occasion, I didn't see anybody, but I heard a voice telling me, not voices. I didn't hear voices in my head. No, not like that. But the voice of the man angel in charge told me exactly what to do. Also, I think I wrote about in my book. On that occasion, as as I was leaving the house, the man that I was living with actually came after me, and I knew that I was going to be dead then. And I said Jesus, but I didn't say Jesus or Jesus or Jesus. I said Jesus, like really badly, like oh Jesus, like a swear word, because I didn't know anything, did I? I didn't even know that the God I'd met in the garden was Jesus. It just came out of my mouth like a swear word almost. But that's put the angels into action. The minute I said that name, the minute I said the name of Jesus, this man who was coming towards me was stopped, as if he'd hit the glass wall that he couldn't see, as if it hit an invisible wall. And the expression on his face of confusion, horror, terror, fear, blind panic, I will never forget. He spun on his heels and stormed away in the opposite direction. Then the angel spoke to me again and said, get up, get into your car, and never return to this house. So that was yet another encounter with vitamin C. Anyway, I had quite a few encounters with angels after that. But I don't think I'll go into all of them because we'll be here all day. I would like to tell you about one because it's, again, a totally different type of angel. Totally different type of angel. And I was surprised when I encountered this angel because I didn't know about this kind, and I still don't know about this kind other than I met this kind. So it happened at a friend of mine. You, in fact, might even be watching this video. I was staying over in their house in Johannesburg, and I woke up in the middle of the night. I was aware of like a dim glow at the foot of the bed. And I sat up and I looked, and what I saw was absolutely amazing. There was an angel there sitting at a desk. I was looking straight on at him. He was sitting side on at a desk, a wooden writing desk. And he was writing. He was sitting on a chair. He had like a little room there. And there were these blue curtains that were open. And I could see right through. And as I sat up and looked at him, he realized that I could see him, and he looked at me. and the look on his face was, oh no, you weren't supposed to see me. And I said, hello. And he said, hello. But, again, one of those sweet, there's nothing like the face of this particular type of angel. I think this is a similar type of angel to who was on the gate, a gate of heaven. Sweet. A face of sweetness like you cannot believe. The sweetness of a little child, but not with the innocence and the sort of almost emptiness of a child. This is intelligent, sensitive, loving, kind, sweet face. Now I want to describe this angel to you. I'm just putting it out there, guys. What you make of it, I don't know, because I don't have the answers. These things are mysterious. They're mostly hidden. And I can't say that I can tell you, but I can tell you that this type of angel I'd never seen before. Even though that sweet face was there, like I've kind of got to know with certain types of angels. This one, and I don't know if it was part of his body or as part of his clothing. But he had something that went right out around his head like this, almost in, like that. Like his collar. Now whether it was the collar of his body or the collar of his outfit, I don't know. It was like he had this big raised collar behind his head. But it was just made out of sort of shards like this, or like rays of the sun, but it was some kind of material. It wasn't light or anything like that. It was a real substance. And that's what he had. And he was very small and thin. He wasn't like a big army angel at all. He wasn't like the tall angel on the gate. He had the sweet face, but he was different. He was thin and he was small, and he was writing in a book. At a normal writing desk, and I was so astonished at that sight. And this blue curtain that was open. And then I said, hello, and he said, hello. And there was a connection between us. I don't remember knowing him or having ever seen him before, but there was an immediate connection and a terrific interest in each other, a tremendous desire to be together and to chat and to talk and to ask questions and to find out, and it was coming from both sides very, very, very strongly. Not like romantic or anything like that, don't get me wrong, but just an enormous desire to just be together. And especially from his side, because he had actually opened the curtains, I realized, so that he could look at me, and I was not supposed to see. He thought I was fast asleep, and he had opened the curtains so he could look at me, because he just loved me so much. I don't even know who this angel is, but he loves me so much, and he just wanted to gaze at me like you would, like you'd creep into your child's room at night and just gaze at them in the cot. How I do that with my grandchildren. They've got the monitors these days, and I just stare at them sleeping in the monitor, because I just love it. I just love them. I love watching their faces while they're sleeping. And that's what this angel had done with me. He'd opened the curtains, which is the entranceway into the spiritual realm, so that he could look at me, and I wasn't supposed to find out. And I woke up and I saw him. So he was caught out, as it were. And then I said to him, come. And he said, no. I said, why not? He said, it's forbidden. And I said, oh, don't worry about that. And he just went like that. He closed the curtains, and then of course I couldn't see him anymore at all. It was like there was nobody there. You wouldn't ever know that anybody was there. So that's strange, isn't it? I have a few theories. None of them are that satisfactory, but you can tell me what you think of my theory. Why was he sitting at a table or a writing desk writing? Okay, here's my two theories. Tell me what you think of them. Maybe you've got another one that makes more sense. Number one, I'm a writer, so maybe he is my angel that helps me with writing for the Lord, writing different things. Maybe he helps me with that. It's my first theory. My second theory is he was writing down everything about me, my life, everything I say and do. It says in the Bible that in heaven there are books, and the Lord opens the books. He actually judges us from those books. I'm not sure that I'm that keen on the second theory, but it's probably the most likely one. Yeah, probably is. There's something called a scribal angel. I've heard about them. I'm always a little bit suspicious about people who claim to know everything about angels, because really, how do you know all this stuff? We can just conjecture. We can just make intelligent guesses. I can tell you about my encounters with them, but that doesn't mean I understand everything about them. I don't. I don't know anybody who does. Anyway, yeah, it does say in the Bible that there are books in heaven, and I think those books are obviously written. So maybe we do all have an angel that just sits and writes down everything, makes an account of our lives for the Lord. And I met him that night. Well, I'm just glad that he really loves me as much as he does, and I hope he writes good stuff about me because of it. That one is actually my favorite angel encounter of all, because it's my most recent. It's long after all these other amazing spiritual things happened to me. So I'm happy that I had it, even though it was a little bit of a thing that wasn't supposed to happen, a bit of an accident, if you like. I'm glad that I experienced it. It was an accidental encounter with an angel. All my other encounters have been very intentional, initiated by them or by the Lord. But this was an accidental encounter, and it remains my favorite. I'm pretty horrified when I realize how rebellious my heart is compared to the heart of that angel. Because, he was really just as keen as I was, even more so actually, to get together and just to be together. But he knew it was forbidden, and he would never ever have overstepped that mark. Whereas I said to him, the longing in my heart was so great, I said, just forget about that. We'll just sneak a few minutes, And isn't that just unfortunately the very thing that has kept us out of heaven for all these millennia? We are rebels. We are rebels at heart. We are rebels at heart. Now, this kind of thing does not happen. Does not happen in heaven. Not even a smidgen of it. And I can't even begin to imagine those angels that rebelled all that time ago in the antediluvian era, that they actually rebelled. It's crazy. And no wonder they were thrown out of heaven. You can't have that. You know, the whole of heaven depends on submission to authority. It's not authoritarian. There's a huge difference between a system that works beautifully because there's submission to authority and everyone knows their place and everyone keeps their place. You know, the Bible says that those angels, they left their ordained place. See, in heaven you don't do that. You can't do that. The whole thing would just collapse. You can't leave your place. Everything works and runs the way it does because everyone knows their place and they stay in their place. But we are nothing like that. So how the Lord has to get us ready to be able to function and not be a threat to heaven. But I have no problem understanding. Since that encounter with that angel, I have no problem in understanding why God had to put an angel at the entrance to Eden with a flaming sword. In Hebrew 2, going back and forth so that we could not enter in, because we will wreck the whole thing. As we are now, we'll wreck the whole thing. I mean, I'm a strongly believing Christian, and I said to this angel, oh, forget about that. Forget about God's orders. I really want to get together with you just for a few minutes. I felt so bad afterwards. The flesh is strong, you know. The flesh is strong. I do want to tell you about one more encounter with angels on my mother's deathbed, because this is also quite interesting, showing another role that angels do play in our lives. They're with us from birth to death. When my mom was dying, she took a long time about it, in the sense that once we knew that she was dying, we were sort of expecting it any day. And it went on week after week. And eventually, the rest of my family aren't really believers. We're saying, we just got to know when she's going to die, because, you know, this is just getting difficult. Just waiting and waiting for her to die. She's in this sort of semi-conscious state most of the time. It's just getting difficult. It's putting a huge strain emotionally and in every other way on all of us. So, you know, we need to know. So I said, well, would you like me to pray and ask the Lord? Yes, you pray and ask the Lord. So I did. I prayed and I said, Lord, you know, when is my mom going to die? And the answer came in the form of, I had an experience of seeing angels. There were 2 angels in the room. They were just about the same as human beings. They had just plain white robes on. They were the normal size of a human being. I had the feeling that these were guardian angels, and that one belonged to me, one belonged to my mom, and she had given her life to the Lord a few years before that, a few years earlier. And into the room came a 3rd angel. He was at least a foot taller than the 2 that were already there. And he was obviously a more senior angel, because the minute he entered the room, the other 2 immediately stepped back and deferred to him. Immediately they deferred to him. So it was like they had been in charge up until then. The minute he entered the room, they deferred to him. And I then addressed him and I said, when are you going to... Something told me that this was the angel that was coming to escort my mother home. So I asked him, I said, when are you going to take my mom? And he stepped back and put his hands behind his back and he said, when everyone is ready. He was not one of these kind, sweet, twinkly, smiling angels. He didn't crack a smile once at all. He was very polite and very respectful, but he wasn't those nice, kind, gentle, sweet-natured angels, you know, that I've told you about before. So again, this was a different type of angel. And he said to me, when everyone's ready, and I said, believe me, we're all ready. We've been ready for weeks. And he didn't argue with me, just stepped back and put his hands behind his back again. And he said, when everyone's ready, I'll take her. That was it. So then I told my family, I said, look, I met the angel who's come to take mom, and he said when everyone's ready, he'll take her. And they all said, oh, we're ready, tell him, you know. They didn't believe, of course, 1 minute that I'd actually had a conversation with this angel. But they said, tell him, just in case she did, tell him, she can go now, we're all ready. I said, no, I did tell him, but I don't know why, he said, when everyone's ready. Well, 2 days after that, my mom came out of her unconscious state for a little while. None of us were there. She spoke to one of my sisters and she said, why is this happening to me? Why is this happening to me? Why can't I get out of bed? Why aren't I getting better? And then my sister realized that the one person who had no idea what was going on was my mom herself. So we're so blessed because she'd actually had a lot of experience in palliative care and helping people die. And she said, oh, Mom, you've come to the end of life. It's what we call the end of life season in your life. And you're not going to get out of bed. And you're actually not going to get better. What is going to happen is you're going to go on now to the Lord. And my mom just said, oh. She said, open the curtains. It's awfully dark in here. That's all she said. Do you know? She went into a deep coma then, from which she did not come out. And a couple of hours later, she was gone. So she was the one who was not ready. And how amazing is it? I just want to encourage you that if you've had people that have passed, or even for yourself, just know that it's all under control. Like I said to you earlier, heaven is totally knowing what's going on. They're not out of control. They're not absent. They're in control. They know what's happening. They know your birthday. They know when you're born. They watch over you all of your life. And then when you die, they know. And they come and they wait for the right moment, and then they escort you. They take you. And you are safe and escorted the whole way back home. If you're in Christ, you are covered. Heaven covers you. And heaven watches over you from the start of your life to the end. So I hope you enjoyed this rambling stories about my encounters with angels. I would love to hear about your encounters with angels if you've had them. Please share it with us on the comments on the blog post or on the YouTube channel. Underneath there's a place for you to put comments, and share it because we'd all love to hear about it. Until next time, Avante.